So the Bill of Rights are the first 10 amendments of our Constitution. Let's talk about them. Here we go. So the First Amendment is the freedom of speech. The freedom to practice any religion. The freedom of the press. And the freedom to petition our government. So the First Amendment is also the awesomest amendment in the Constitution. Okay, so let's talk about the Second Amendment. The Second Amendment is the right to bear arms. And also having a well-armed and well-trained militia. And that also, our militia is now known as the military. Well-trained and well-armed militia. Trained and also for the first part, the right to bear arms part, it is very hotly contested because of multiple interpretations of the Constitution. The first one is a interpretation that the right to bear arms, when before we had actually a well-trained and armed militia, or the right to bear arms that anyone can have a gun. I want you to make your educated inferences for yourself. Okay, let's talk about the Third Amendment. The Third Amendment is the quartering of soldiers. So the quartering of soldiers was pretty much something that happened during the pre-colonial era, where soldiers would come to your house. Let me draw a house here. Let's see, not a very good drawing of a house, but the soldiers would come to your house and take away either your bedroom or some other bedroom you have, and then you also have to feed them, or else you go to jail. So now quartering soldiers is banned, which is why probably you never heard in the news. Okay, breaking news: some people's houses are quartered by soldiers. So not something now we have to really worry about, but it was back during the colonial era, so you know they put it there so, and the new nation won't have this quartering of soldiers issue. So the Fourth Amendment is that that unreasonable searches and seizures are illegal. And actually, most searches and seizures need a search warrant. And then there's also another thing about the Fourth Amendment. It's not like written in the Fourth Amendment, but it's something I probably might want to talk about. It's called expectation of privacy. Expectation of privacy. 1 second. Expectation of privacy. So pretty much that what that means is that, like for example, in a what should I say? Inside your home, it's not like someone will put wiretaps inside your home, or like keep listening to what you're doing inside your home. Pretty much something like that. That's pretty much expectation of privacy. And also, search warrants have to be issued by a judge, unlike the writs of assistance that were happening during the pre-colonial era. And the police have, so for example, if you're actually like committing a crime, like in front of everybody, then pretty much the police have a right to search you and all. So, anyway, let's talk about the Fifth Amendment. So, Fifth Amendment you probably heard in a cop show. I plead the Fifth. I plead. Oh my goodness, that is a huge marker. I plead the Fifth. So that you cannot incriminate yourself. you don't have to incriminate yourself. Actually, some people like just incriminate themselves. Like, okay, I stole the candy bar. Like example, you don't have to incriminate yourself. Also, I probably went when I had an exclamation mark here, and that was a really horrible exclamation mark. Let's put like not here. Okay. So that's pretty much you don't have to incriminate yourself. Now, the Fifth Amendment is also like kind of also dubbed as the Miranda rights. It was based on the case Miranda versus Arizona, which is back in 1966. Again, I'll probably make there's probably going to be a video about Miranda versus Arizona. So anyway, so let's talk about the Sixth Amendment. The Sixth Amendment is that you have the right for a speedy and public trial. Supreme speed means that you cannot sit down in 10 years in jail awaiting trial, and public means that there'll be 12 people in a jury. 12 people in the jury, and these people are fair-minded citizens. So that's pretty much the Sixth Amendment. Let's talk about the Seventh Amendment. The Seventh Amendment is pretty not that huge, but it is one amendment. But it is an amendment you need to know. Seventh Amendment means that any info that was not reviewed by a jury reviewed by a jury. Let's see here. Reviewed by a jury. Must be re-examined. So pretty much that if the jury, for example, didn't like review any some type of important piece of information, if the court case is settlements that is under $20, then the original decision stands. But if it's over $20, which probably it is, then it has to be again re-reviewed. So the next one is the Eighth Amendment. The Eighth Amendment pretty much is that there's no cruel and unusual punishment. Now, also, cruel and unusual meaning that, for example, it cannot be either cruel or unusual together. It can be an unusual punishment, or it could be a cruel punishment. Though technically, I doubt there's going to be. Though technically, it cannot be cruel or unusual, or both. So, also another thing is that also unusual also can also mean that, for example, if you just stole a candy bar, you're not going to get $1 million bail. Or, for example, but you will get a bail that is based on the crime you did. So, for example, if you stole money in Wall Street and you're a stockbroker and you stole money in Wall Street, your bail probably might be $1 million. But if you stole like $50, probably might be like maybe $1,000, maybe. Yeah. So let's talk about the Ninth Amendment. Now, the Ninth Amendment is super important. So the Ninth Amendment simply states that any rights not listed in the Constitution cannot be denied. So pretty much it's saying that any rights that since we only have like 27 amendments in the Constitution, so what they're pretty much saying in the Ninth Amendment is that they don't have, even though it's not listed in the Constitution, doesn't mean natural rights can be denied. So pretty much like maybe the right to vote, and that is a right because since we are a democracy, that is a right that cannot be denied. I mean, it can be denied if you're like under 18, which doesn't sound very good because I think people under 18 should be able to vote. Anyway, that is just my views. But what it says is that any rights not listed in the Constitution can't be denied. And it's a very important amendment. If we didn't have this amendment, so many rights could be infringed. So let's talk about the 10th Amendment. Now, the 10th Amendment means it simply is any rights, well, actually, any rights not reserved for the government. Well, actually, not any rights. I should say more issues. Any issues and any things that have to be controlled. Any things that have to be controlled, not reserved for the government. Is given to the states. So pretty much, for example, like things like what should I say? Things like for example, some hot button issues are also given to the states to decide instead of federal government. And then also, for example, Obamacare. That thing, if it was given to the states, it might be much more different than it was if it was by the federal government. So, like for example, interstate commerce is regulated by the federal government, but things that are inside the states, that is just regulated by the states. And anything that is not reserved by the government is given to the states. And I lost my pen somewhere. 1 second. And yeah. Okay, so anyway. Thank you guys for watching this video. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.